Indianapolis has been just simply a great host for this championship and Final Four. A great week of activities here, and we thank all the great people of this city and state really for making our trip here really a great one. Let us turn now to the financial page and bring you up to date on some baseball news. Dwight Gooden today became the second highest paid baseball player when he agreed to a 3-year contract extension, Mike, worth a guaranteed $15.45 million. Now, with a bonus clause for pitching 500 innings over the next 3 years, he would become the highest paid player over Boston's Roger Clemens. Let's send you down now to the catacombs of the building or wherever they are and check in on our reporters. Let's begin with Leslie Visser, who's with Kansas. Leslie?
Hi, Patsy. Kansas Jayhawks went into the locker room a little bewildered but not discouraged. Assistant coach Jerry Green said that offensively they want more ball movement. They're standing around too much. Defensively, he said what they'd like to do is keep Christian Laettner from receiving the entry pass. They also would like to put more pressure on the ball at the perimeter. You know, this is a group Roy Williams says is his most competitive bunch, and we all saw they came back from a 12-point deficit at halftime against Arkansas. Let's go over to James Brown.
All right, Leslie, well, the first note is that this locker room demeanor is 180 degrees different from last year when Mike Krzyzewski was kicking over trash cans, had blown his top. It's a quiet locker room. He's pleased about a couple of things. One, the reserves have given him an awful lot of support. Not that they've scored tremendously so, but they've maintained the lead, and that's kept the veterans with some fresh legs. Fresh legs is a major concern for Christian Laettner. He's been substituted for several times. Now, the one big concern as far as Kansas is concerned, they're killing them on the offensive glass. A defensive wrinkle will be not to play the big guys of Kansas when they're out high, but pick them up when they start to make their moves to the basket. That's it from the Duke locker room. Let's go back upstairs to Pat O'Brien.
All right, James, thank you. Leslie, thank you, too. And does Kansas have the heart? We know they have the patience. Do they have the heart and the talent to come back in this game?
This team has shown a tremendous amount of heart. They have to pick up a little better defensive intensity, stop Laettner from catching the ball, and get Alonzo Jamison in the game inside.
All right, the Duke Blue Devils are 20 minutes away from their first championship, but they have to get through another half. They lead the Jayhawks 42-34, and as we watch them right before they go on the court, let's send you to a commercial and a station break. And on the other side of that, it's Jim Nantz and Billy Packer. Enjoy the second half, everybody.
The Prudential at the Half was sponsored by the Prudential. Come to the companies of the Prudential and build your future on the rock. Championship game is sponsored by the new generation of Oldsmobile.
Well, here are your halftime numbers. Three-point shooting has been excellent for both teams, but Duke especially with 5 out of 7. In field goal percentage numbers, Duke way above average what Kansas has been holding its opponents in the tournament.
By almost 18%.
Laettner's made already 10 out of 10 free throws. The rest of the team is Grant Hill, 1 out of 3 from the line for Grant Hill. And you talked about that even matchup, Randall and Laettner with 12 points each.
Including Randall's first 3 of his career.
It's an 8-point lead for Duke after 8 empty trips to the Final Four. Maybe 8 is enough, and tonight's the magic night. What about the second half here, Billy?
Jim, one of the things that's very obvious to me that Duke does not have anywhere near the quickness that they had against UNLV, and that could be a telltale sign here in the second half. The other thing, Hurley has played the full 20 minutes, so he has not been out of either game at any point so far in the Final Four.
All right, Kansas starting with the second half. Alonzo Jamison, missing again. He had
0 for 4, and he had perfect position.
A guy averaging 13 points, 8 rebounds in the tournament. Scoreless at this point, and only 1 board.
And now there's a mismatch here. Hurley is on Jamison. That means that somebody has got to be open. Hurley takes advantage.
Blows right by the baseline, and an errant pass picked off by Randall.
Hurley tried to attack too quickly.
Maddox left open as Laettner stumbled, gets the soft roll.
Very unusual to see these two teams open up with the intensity they had the first half, the second half getting caught in mismatches.
Bobby Hurley averaging 5 assists to 1 turnover in this tournament, Billy.
And remember the Arkansas game. This is where Kansas just took over, and Duke 2 times down the floor make 2 very bad plays in a row.
Kubek missing that one. Hill coming over to help out, but he bumped into the body of Maddox, so foul on Thomas Hill, his second. Perimeter passing for the Jayhawks. Down 6. Working it around for a Brown three-pointer. Laettner takes the rebound. Hurley looks ahead. Sees his men. Hill to Hill. Turnaround spin move. No good. Jamison. There's a rebound for Zoe.
That's a tough hoop down there. Neither team able to capitalize on those up close.
Maddox back out. Stolen. Grant Hill has the steal. Splits the defenders. Makes the lay-in.
He did, Jim, an outstanding play going to the hoop, particularly with Jamison, an outstanding defender right with him, but not that great explosive quickness that we saw 2 days ago.
Still had a great highlight in the early minutes of this game on the lob pass. 7 for Grant Hill. Thomas Hill deflects it out of bounds. Do you like the way Grant Hill used the body after the steal? As he goes in for the layup, Billy?
See, he anticipated the pass was not a good idea going that far across court, and then just shielded, as you say, the defender to stop the block. That screen, there it is. Nice play.
We had the perfect angle on it, and Maddox saw it also. Right to Randall.
Back screen on Christian Laettner. Thomas Hill recognized it, couldn't get over there in time.
14 for Randall.
With that bad back, it's amazing how Maddox can get out and guard a man away from the basket so well.
Laettner kind of forced that one, and Brown knocked it out of bounds.
We'll see what I talk about, a back screen. See Brown coming up. He gets Laettner. No place for Laettner to go. Too late. Hill doesn't get over in time.
Hill traveled.
Mike Krzyzewski and Roy Williams are getting to be like two jockeys right now on horses that are kind of collapsing coming down the stretch. I mean, neither one of these teams playing up to par. Both of the guys off the bench with the whip, trying to get them back into focus here as they were in the first half.
Brian Davis in for Kubek. Alonzo Jamison, I know he wants to get on the board.
He's got Hill posted up now.
Brown driving, off balance shot, oh, in and out, spun out. Grant Hill on the baseline. Hurley swings it over, sets up Hill, back over to Davis. A better open shot, back of the rim, and Maddox has it.
Duke not converting here in the second half, giving Kansas a chance to get back in it.
Grant Hill tried for the other steal, but called for the foul. With Grant Hill, that's his first. And Coach Krzyzewski dials M for McCaffrey, who had a pretty good first half. McCaffrey came in with 7 points off the bench in the first half.
You see Jamison bending over, grabbing those shorts, so maybe he's showing a little signs of wear here. He wants to drive.
Yep. Dishes instead. Left-handed layup by Randall. Had to do it too. Used his body as well. 4-point game, Billy.
Mike Krzyzewski's got to be getting a little concerned now because his team not executing on the half court.
McCaffrey, one dribble, and he hits it. That's a 2.
McCaffrey getting that nice bounce off of there. He had the ankle injury earlier on this year, took away an awful lot of his game, and they're going to Laettner down low.
And they called it on Laettner as Randall really had him posted up.
That's his third, Jim. Serious problems for Duke inside. They may have to start showing some zone, and in this case, they go to Palmer.
Palmer's already taken the warm-ups off to check in for Laettner. Great position by Randall.
That's the old deal. Fatigue makes cowards of us all. Laettner a little tired, not fighting for position as well as he normally would. Just one of those fatigue fouls.
Mentioned earlier now as Randall will attempt 2. Kansas's all-time shooter percentage-wise from the floor. He played high school basketball for a pretty accurate shooter. Matt Calvin was
Great shooter.
Yep,
One of those
ABA player.
One of those 90% free throw shooters.
Randall missing them both.
You know, Grant Hill is coming up big time after time on the boards.
McCaffrey
No place to go in there.
got it back out to Hill.
Oh, nice fake.
Driving, soft touch, yes.
Beautiful fake. With the ball, with the shoulders.
9 for Grant Hill. Randall steps in, gives it to Maddox.
Maddox wanted to go back to Randall inside. Boy, he's a good passer. Here you think back in the semifinals when Duke beat Kansas and Danny Manning. Manning got in that serious foul trouble, played very little in the first half. Duke able to pull that game out with Johnny Dawkins, worked their way to the final against Louisville.
That was the 86 one, and then Kansas came back and won in 88. 2 bodies down. Jordan takes the 3.
Good no calls by the official. No advantage gained by defense or offense.
McCaffrey says, why not?
Wow.
How about his game tonight, Billy? McCaffrey with 12, his season average.
We talked about strangers off that bench. Yep. Scott tonight really does nothing. You know, Johanny comes off. We hadn't seen him before. Gives him great quality minutes. And now for Duke, McCaffrey putting on a show offensively.
There's a lob. Maddox wasn't ready for it. A turnover and a timeout. Thomas Hill will be checking in. Television timeout. Duke with an 8-point lead.
Duke on top by 8, and the timeout on the Duke bench this time was one more of a psychological boost by Mike Krzyzewski, trying to get his guys not to think about their fatigue. He's trying to push them, trying to encourage them. He realizes his guys are weak, much like a fighter, and he's just trying to appeal to their emotions. He says, fellas, 14 minutes to a championship. Now let's check in with Leslie Visser.
JB, Kansas wants to move the transition offense more quickly up the floor. They also want to set some high screens for Jordan. Defensively, it's just put a body on McCaffrey. Over to Jim.
Lob to Davis. Wow, Hurley to Davis, who skies with a dunk.
Jim, the second time Duke has done a great job attacking the 1-3-1 half-court zone press.
Duke has its largest lead. Brown right back. No good. Davis with the play at the other end. 10-point Duke lead.
Jim, I'm very surprised that Christian Laettner is back in the game. He's got 3 fouls. I think Mike Krzyzewski should keep him on the bench, let him rest as long as he's got a working margin. I think it's very dangerous this early in the game to bring him back. You've got your best free throw shooter.
How about that move? Blocking foul on Randall, and that's his 3rd. Davis with the dunk on the previous play.
Well, we saw Davis make the dunk. We saw Grant Hill before. These are 2 excellent slashers to the basket. And Thomas Hill can do likewise. It's a very unusual team. They really don't have a center. Bobby Hurley and Christian Laettner, and then a bunch of swing men.
It's like Tark said, he felt like he was going against a guard and 4 forwards.
Well, Tark got himself in a situation where he kept worrying about how do I match up with Duke instead of making Duke match up with him. I think when you're the favored team, you force the other man to figure out how he's going to guard Larry Johnson. The table got turned, and then Tark couldn't match him.
As I mentioned, that's 3 on Randall, but only the first team foul on Kansas in the first 7 minutes now of the second half. Davis missing the first one. Yeah, I think Duke has come out of that timeout, as James Brown reported, very spirited. Here's one of their real leaders, too. A young man who worked last summer on Capitol Hill for Senator Terry Sanford. Will work on Wall Street this summer. Missing them both, however.
Scott's got Laettner down and low. Kansas ought to try to get him the ball.
Woodbury spinning around. Tipped in by Scott. And it wanted goaltending.
Now, a great call by the official.
No call?
No, sir. That ball was outside the cylinder. Scott right up there with it with excellent timing. Roy Williams getting out of that 1-3-1.
Tunstall jumped right out on Hurley and bumped him with the body. Here's your tip in, Billy.
Watch the angle. Ball comes back. Outside the cylinder. Scott goes up. Good job. Excellent timing. Oh!
Leitner threw it to the wrong man, and Woodbury couldn't believe it, and knocked it right off his own knee.
What a break. That same play, similar play happened to Jordan this year earlier in a Kansas game where he saw Randall coming into the game as a substitute, thought he was a player and passed him the ball when he was out of bounds.
Hurley finds Davis cutting to the hole.
One of the few times Hurley's been able to beat Jordan with a dribble. Boy, Kansas needs to look inside to Randall. He's got Leitner. They've got to get the fourth foul on Leitner. Here it is.
Here they are.
Pretty good job by Leitner to lay off him.
Yep, Davis came over for a moment to help.
I'm really surprised that Mike Krzyzewski with this lead is leaving Leitner in a game. Good backdoor cut.
Randall missed the dunk. Blocking foul called on Duke and Davis. He fooled Leitner on that one, didn't he, Billy?
Well, Leitner is really going to have his hands full. Now watch. Randall comes to the ball, makes the good cut, then use that right arm as kind of a good swim move on by Leitner. Leitner not there in time, and pretty good job by Davis to go over there and at least try to draw the charge. And that would have been a big call if he could have, because Randall has his own foul problems.
Randall will shoot 2. Again, he played for Coach Krzyzewski on the world team last summer, was a starter with Billy Owens, Alonzo Mourning, Kenny Anderson, and Chris Smith, and Leitner backed them up. Back so close to Coach K that after the victory over North Carolina, Randall sat in the stands of the first half of the Duke UNLV game with Mickey Krzyzewski.
Well, Mark recruited as a high school All-American by Larry Brown, and had that very disappointing start, had some medical problems. Actually missed 2 games this year with medical problems. That's a walk.
Walking on McCaffrey. Duke turns it over. Duke with an 8-point lead, 12 minutes to go.
You're not going to get many uncontested drives unless you've got some power. Now, Mike Krzyzewski's saying there's a push there, but Kansas going to put the body on you, whether they're setting a screen or playing defense. Now, there goes Leitner out of the game. Mike Krzyzewski was kind of lucky there. He has an 8-point lead. Leitner goes out, doesn't pick up that 4th foul.
Palmer's in for him. Palmer D'ing it up now against Randall, giving him some room. Jordan finds Randall. Tunstall.
Nice help. Nice help by Davis.
Tunstall was on the line. Duke will have the basketball when we come back. 11:41 left in the championship game. Back at the Hoosier Dome. An officials timeout. Duke leading by 8 with 11:41 remaining. Jim Nantz along with Billy Packer. And Billy, your thoughts now as we approach the final half of the second half.
Not surprising to see Kansas come out in some full court pressure. Key thing here is Christian Leitner and Randall, both in the games in foul trouble. Randall hasn't had much of a break as far as the physical standpoint to get off the floor. Leitner has had some subs.
Davis somehow got it over to Leitner, who laid it in.
Davis has been coming up big in both games here in the Final Four. You notice how Leitner's laying off Randall now on the outside, even though Randall did hit that 1-3. He's letting them handle the ball on the pass.
Jamison underneath. Pump fake, blocked by Grant Hill.
You know, is Grant Hill a lot better defender than we've given him credit for? I mean, he's been assigned to tough people and carries it out. Had a rough regional. Just seemed to be all thumbs in the regional, but he is really playing well in the Final Four. Good, solid screen. Oh, nice.
Leitner, turn around, in and out. Hill tried to tip it in. That's Duke's first miss after 6 straight from the floor. Tunstall, too strong on the lay-in. Look at little McCaffrey traveled.
What happens when you rebound against Kansas? You have got to do one of 2 things. Either get the ball out immediately or protect it, because they attack you when you get a rebound. That time, and that's the second time tonight McCaffrey's gotten a good rebound, only to have it taken away from him. Roy Williams with a smile over there. You know, Roy Williams and Mike Krzyzewski, both entry-level coaches at grad assistants. a job that the college presidents say that they've got to do away with now. And all college presidents would love to have these guys coaching.
There's a steal and ahead to McCaffrey.
Big play for Duke. Getting a little work in margin. I think you're going to have to see Brown back in the game as we are right now so that he can get that three going. He's got to get the three started. Some kind of offensive power. Duke goes zone.
And almost another steal. Into the hands of Scott. Hill gets the rebound.
They've got a chance for a break.
Duke has its largest lead, a 12-point lead. Hurley will slow it down.
Protected that ball nicely. They're trying to get Leitner free in the low post.
Turns around and surveys. Randall knocked it loose. Hurley back out. Here's McCaffrey again. Three-pointer. No.
Good block out by Jamison.
Finds Brown on the wing. Jamison bypasses the shot. Tunstall fakes. Back to Jamison.
See, Duke's packed that zone way in. Kansas not getting decent spacing yet.
Scott doesn't too strong. Grant Hill with another rebound.
Leitner tired now. Mike Krzyzewski wanting his team to take a little rest with the ball.
7 rebounds for Grant Hill.
Look at Leitner walking up the court. Got to watch 5 seconds here. Leitner better not try to dribble that far out. He just throws it away. Yeah, not a good idea. Guys get tired. They get mentally tired.
Let's get a report from Leslie.
Jim, Roy Williams wants 3 things defensively. He wants his team to have more court awareness. He wants them to play defense for the entire possession. And he also wants them to keep the man in front of them, not get beat on the drive. Jim?
Leitner still shuttling in and out. He sits. Kubek's in along with Palmer, and Grant Hill rests also.
Well, you see, Mike Krzyzewski's got a great feel for his players' fatigue right now, and he knows that that pass by Leitner was just a matter of mental fatigue. He just threw the ball away. Gets him out of there, lets him sit. Boy, Hill just shadowing Brown so he can't get that 3 off.
Brown not having the half he did in the first half. Jamison now takes the 3. On the floor. Kubek has it. Swings it down court. Hurley will go to the line for 2.
Good hustle by Scott to get back there. Nice, clean play.
Let's bring in James Brown.
All right, Jim, during the last timeout, Coach Mike Krzyzewski calmly looked his guys in the eyes on the bench with the assurance of a family doctor and said, fellas, this is the point during the game where Kansas traditionally has made its run coming back from major deficits. These are the most crucial 4 minutes coming up. Let's not give up anything easy, get easy layups, and we can go for the jugular. Back to Jim.
And here comes a Carolina-type move. This is, of course, a Carolina Roy Williams training place called the blue team. They don't have a name for it at Kansas, but a wholesale change, Billy.
Well, I think what you're seeing from Roy Williams here, an opportunity for him to get his 5 key players over there, and he's going to give them a tongue lashing, tell them, guys, we are now in a situation where we're going to have to go to war for the next couple of minutes. Don't be surprised to see them back in shortly. And now he's got basically some fresh troops out there to go after Duke. This was primarily to get all 5 fellas on that sidelines to give them that final talk. Here it is.
Talking to one of the players, Richard Scott, who committed the foul to put Hurley on the line. Bring in Leslie Visser quickly.
Jim, that tongue lashing was emotional by Roy Williams. He told his starters, don't worry about the score. This is just a basketball game. Now get it under control. Jim?
It's slipping. That's down 14. Wagner's in.
You talk about Mike Krzyzewski being a disciple of Bob Knight. Well, look at the zone. He's playing the 2-3. He is his own man, and this is excellent strategy on his part.
Too quick a pass for Wagner, and Duke has the ball back 8 minutes away from the championship with a 14-point lead.
I would say that Roy Williams will be putting those guys back in on the next possession. Here comes the trap. Nice job by Hurley to beat it with the dribble. This young man has not been out of a game yet in the Final Four, and he's got the stamina to hang in there.
Crawford Palmer now handling it.
They don't want him handling it.
Maddox on him.
They don't want him handling it.
Television timeout with 7:47 to go. Duke has its largest lead. game summary. Duke with a 12-point edge on points off turnovers. At the bottom, you see Hurley, 10 points, 9 assists. D'ing up right now on Jordan.
And super defense.
Ritchie, a freshman, back out to Jordan.
Back to the man. They get out of the zone. I'm surprised Kansas has not tried to get the ball in on Laettner.
Jordan in the corner. 20 seconds on the shot clock. His team down 14.
Notice, see, Laettner is not going to go out and guard a big man outside.
Ritchie with a 3, too strong. Wagner with the rebound.
Tough shot, and he makes it. Boy, that was a tough shot.
Kirk Wagner, a high school teammate of Stacey Augmon in Pasadena, California. Coming in off the bench with 2.
He's fading away, shooting against his body, and didn't use the board and still made it.
Billy McCaffrey driving past Woodbury. Pump fake. He'll go to the line. Let's see who they call this one on. Hold on a minute here. That could be on Maddox.
I think it's going to be on Woodbury.
It is on Woodbury.
Yep.
His third. Let's get a report from Leslie now.
Jim, in the last timeout, Roy Williams appealed to his team both logically and emotionally. He told him, this isn't how we played all year. We've got 7.5 minutes left in the national championship to get it back. And Billy, you're right. They do want to go at Laettner to pick up the next foul. Jim?
But still unable to get past that third foul that Laettner has. That goal by Wagner, by the way, stopped the 4-minute dry spell by the Jayhawks. And now McCaffrey with 2 attempts.
Jim, Mike Swanson, our outstanding stat man, pointed out something that looks like it's the theory Mike Krzyzewski's using. He's taken Laettner out 1 minute and 10 seconds before he thinks the next TV timeout's coming, so he can use that minute plus the TV minute to really get like a long blow for Laettner every time. They go back to the 2-3 zone. Mike must have a computer in his head over there. Or some real good assistant coaches.
Jamison, power move.
Second time, Kansas has done a good job splitting right down inside against the zone.
That's the first 2 points of the game for Jamison, averaging 11.
But what the zone is also doing is taking some time off the clock as Kansas needs to pass the ball.
McCaffrey scored on the free throws last time. He has 16. Looking for help now. Finds Hurley. So he'll take the 3. Laettner didn't push off. Bangs into Randall and lays it in off the glass.
You know what made that play? Laettner keeping the ball up above his head. Gave him an opportunity to get his balance back.
Billy, we saw him going crazy at Cameron Indoor Arena, where Duke, of course, plays its home games. Giant screen in place. Brown three-pointer. He hits it.
Mistake Hurley. You see what happened? He went inside to help out, and Brown does what he does so well. Just stayed out beyond that three-point line and buried it.
Brown with 13. 5:40 left in the game.
Just a little mental lapse by Bobby Hurley.
Jump pass over to Thomas Hill. In the corner, McCaffrey drives the baseline.
Got pushed from behind. No call.
Woodbury now into the front court. Over to Brown. This is the man they want to shoot. Not this time. Woodbury, good follow.
Mike's got to be thinking time.
Got it down to 9. Timeout called by Duke. Duke calls the time with a 9-point lead. Close in recent years. In fact, 4 of the last 5 they've lost to the eventual champion. Only in '89 when they lost to Seton Hall did they not have that distinction.
Bobby Hurley trying to get Jamison over his back.
Kansas has scored 5 unanswered to get it down to single digits.
Well, they have a mismatch down inside. Davis has Jordan, and he wants the ball down low.
But he went to the other side.
Oh, what a pickup on Davis. Wow.
Jamison all over Hurley, and it's Kansas basketball.
Boy, you saw that defense turn up a notch there. Wouldn't even let anybody come to the ball. Now, what Kansas is doing is they're starting to use a lot of hand checking, a lot of body. They're going to force the referees to make the calls. Good strategy by Roy Williams.
Woodbury on the blocks, turn around, missed it. The frozen rope picked up by Laettner. Hurley will walk it up.
Jim, watch the defense now. There's going to be a lot of pushing, a lot of holding. They're going to try to go ahead and hand check and make every pass tough.
McCaffrey,
you watch that. Look at that. Now the referees will have a tough decision to make. They don't want to turn this game around with a foul shooting contest. And that's why I think it's good strategy to use.
Over to Laettner, 20 on the shot
See
clock.
the hand check?
Laettner thought about challenging Randall, brings it out to Hill.
Woodbury is by far the weakest one-on-one defender of Kansas team.
Hill missed on the dribble drive. Now Jordan goes to the corner.
And Brown's waiting for the three.
Davis gets back out on him. Now Randall over to Jamison, driving on Hill. No foul.
Great play by Laettner. And Laettner's got Jamison down. There's somebody's going to be open here.
Duke in no hurry, Billy.
Yep. But if it's there, you've got to take it.
Still a 9-point lead, approaching 3:30 remaining. And a blocking call against Jamison, his third. 5 on Kansas, so Duke's still 2 away from shooting free throws.
Well, if you're scouting right now the Kansas team and you look out on the floor, the man that I think should have the ball in his hands the most is whoever Woodbury's guard. Well, eliminate that strategy because Roy Williams sees that too. He takes Woodbury out.
Takes Jamison
And
out
Jamison
as well.
too.
Maddox in, and Tunstall in.
Correct. And the reason I said that is because McCaffrey was beating Woodbury. Donis Jordan will put his body on you if you don't watch it. I mean, Bobby Hurley's going to be exhausted after this one.
They
Watch the body. Watch the body.
Double team McCaffrey. And a hold against... Who's that going against, Billy? It's going against McCaffrey.
Yeah, see, they're just putting so much body on him right now. And you have got it. Watch this. Hands all over. Look at all the body. And there's McCaffrey. He gets it stripped, and then he has to grab Brown. This will be a battle of wills the rest of the way now.
You know, on this side of the court, when McCaffrey was doubled up, I saw Bobby Hurley trying to call time, but it was not in time.
It was good that he didn't. Duke only has 2 timeouts left. You wouldn't want to find your position and using them. Big shot.
Hill with the rebound. Tunstall missing the 3. A dry spell right now for both teams.
I think that Duke ought to look to score some instead of just trying to hold the ball.
Grant Hill driving past Maddox. Out of control with the body, but they're going to call it a block against Terry Brown.
A great move by Hill, too. He realizes Maddox can't guard him out on the outside. It's so easy to guard a team, and a lot of times you see this in practice, Jim. A coach says, I want us to just hold the ball, don't go to score. It's difficult to hold the ball for 45 seconds when the team's coming out and bodying you. And if you can, sometimes you can break and get a real easy one. Don't be surprised to see Duke not try to get one easy.
Woodbury right back in, and Hill at the line to shoot 2. Only 1 of 3 from the line tonight for the freshman from Reston, Virginia.
Considering the way Duke is going to try to use the clock, if you're Roy Williams, you got to be thinking about getting Brown untracked with some solid screens for a 3.
Jamison in for Maddox.
Good move again by Roy Williams, and the fact that he saw right away that they were going to break Maddox down with the drive. Jamison, a much better defender on the perimeter.
Rebound comes to Brown. 10-point lead for Duke. Kansas needs some points in a hurry.
See, right now Laettner's playing a one-man zone in the middle. Randall's got to take advantage of that.
Davis right on the back of Jamison. His 4th, and that's 6 team fouls against Duke.
And
Kansas will inbound.
Ready, and the next foul, of course, Kansas goes to the line. We talk about how poor they are on the free throw line. But, of course, in their big win against Arkansas, they had hit 16 of 17 over the last 5 minutes. So this team finds some ways to do positive things. But they got a hole right now that they've dug for themselves.
Woodbury at the last minute found Randall, couldn't control it, and Hurley takes it for Duke. 2:30 left in the game and a 10-point lead. Blue Devils looking for their first championship.
There's Hurley. I said they'll get an easy one.
Oh, he bypassed it, Billy. He knew it would get rejected. Back out to Laettner. Laettner now looking for an opening. He'll challenge Randall. Too strong.
Not a good shot.
And a rebound by Brown. Kansas quickly. Jordan driving. Stops in the corner. Bounces it out. Brown three-point shot.
You know what? He makes that shot better fading away than he does when he's standing still.
Well, it's a 7-point lead. Duke
morning.
59. It's the same score at this point with Duke in front this time. Duke with the ball and a 7-point advantage. Woodbury jumps out on Hurley. Must watch out for the 10 count. Grant Hill gets it into the front court. Into the corner, Leitner. Great ball handler for a big man.
But he didn't make a good decision the last time, Jim, when he tried to put that shot up. The clock now becomes another one of their teammates.
7-point lead in a hole by Jamison very clearly. And that's 4 on Jamison. Let's bring in Leslie.
Jim, quickly, Roy Williams was very calm during the last timeout. He told his teammates to be aware, his team to be aware of the clock, but not to hurry. He also told them, we have plenty of time, don't panic. That's optimism.
Well, they really do have enough time here, Billy, with 1:43 to go.
2 timeouts left. Of course, he's got a great 3-point shooter in Brown, who showed that on that fadeaway that he can make them from almost any distance. And now it looks like it's going to be somewhat of a free throw shooting contest.
Hill will shoot the 1-and-1. Cold at the line tonight is Hill. In the corner, Jordan. Tunstall. They work it around to Brown. With a man all over, takes the 3. Leitner with the rebound. Randall was on his back. And that's 4 on Randall. 8th team foul on Kansas. Leitner, such an excellent shooter, will go to the line for a 1-and-1.
And Jim, I pointed this out before, and you can see Scott, who had the game that was so outstanding against North Carolina, starting to bury those hands down a little bit. And it is unusual, and maybe it just runs, as Roy Williams says, in the water. But Kansas, on the year, of course, only shot 62%, but they had great defense against the foul shot. Their opponents only shot 65%. Now, how is that possible?
Yeah, how do you D up against the free throw? Come on. 1-and-1. Look at Leitner.
Well, of all the guys, of course, as we said, the record setter in the NCAA tournament, both attempts and made now. And, you know, a very unfortunate thing, and I think it's something the NCAA ought to change. Christian Leitner had a hard time with his drug test the other day because he was just so dried out, dehydrated from the game. I think they ought to test the players before games and give those kids an opportunity to get immediate rest.
Missed out on the team celebration. The team bus ride back. Here's Jamison.
He's
Off
got
the
a
rim.
man free.
They've got Grant Hill, but Leitner was jammed by Jamison. Hurley is bumped by Tunstall.
Were you getting a sense, Jim?
And I'll tell you another place getting a sense of it. Billy, look at them at Cameron. They're going wild in Cameron Indoor Stadium. Folks, 1 minute and 7 seconds away from planning on having a championship banner inside.
Well, you take your hats off to both of these schools because their student bodies probably put on as good a show in their home arenas as any place in the country. And one of the things you also ought to tip your hat off to the Duke administration is they let those students sit right down on the court so they can be a real part of the game.
McCaffrey with a big game. Hurley with a big game in the backcourt. He hits them both. Driving is Jordan. Off the glass. Called the timeout before the shot went through. Timeout by Kansas. 101. 61 seconds away for the title for Duke.
Remaining in the contest, Duke up by 9, and Mike Krzyzewski during that timeout, no information overload with X's and O's. He looked at the big fella Leitner and says, fella, if you can't give it to me physically, give it to me mentally. Let's go back to Jim.
They foul Grant Hill on the jump pass. Foul goes against Woodbury. Billy, you were making a point about the Kansas bench.
Well, what's interesting,
and not the players.
Not the players. It really has been, at least up to this point, the unlucky place to be because all the teams who have been on that bench in the semifinals lost. And we find Kansas in a position now sitting on that bench in a situation where they're in some serious trouble with just 57 seconds to go and only 1 timeout left to be able to stop a clock.
That's the 10th foul on Kansas. Grant Hill will shoot 2. You've just given a whole new definition to not a bad seat in the house. Hill gets a lot of arc on his
Well, one of
free
the
throws, and he'll have one more. As I mentioned, a two-shot situation.
Jim, one of the things about Grant Hill as a shooter, he has very poor balance on his release. Almost always he falls forward and almost steps over the line. He's got to figure out a way to plan himself a little better.
Short and right. Empty trip for Duke. Kansas with 54 seconds. That ball was tipped by Grant Hill. They're all over Tunstall. He drives, comes up short. Tunstall over the back of Leitner. Did not get the ball for it. Goaltending against Thomas Hill. That trims it to 7.
Trims it to 7. Roy Williams doesn't have to waste a timeout because the ball gets knocked away. It stops the clock for him.
And he brings in Scott and Woodbury.
That was some rebound by Tunstall to get it back right over Leitner. Now what Duke wants to do is to screen Hurley and then have Leitner come back to the ball. He took a chance to go long.
McCaffrey in the corner.
Oh, that ball went off Leitner. Yes, sir. And Mike Krzyzewski wants to use his last timeout here.
Leitner calling for it at midcourt. He saw the signal from the coach. 43 seconds remaining. Don't count Kansas out.
And McCaffrey, not the strongest guy in the world. You can see Tunstall came right down over him with a chop. Kansas kids play tough.
Billy, let's enjoy the scene here at the Hoosier Dome. All right, Billy, show us what happened on that last situation. Duke inbounding to McCaffrey.
Well, Christian Leitner is going to go long, and by doing so, he puts the inbounds play in trouble in the fact that the ball has to go to McCaffrey. Now watch, Leitner goes long, and that fools the inbounder, and that puts McCaffrey with the ball, and Kansas knocks it out. If you're Leitner, you've got to come back to the ball. Possession is more important now than the score.
Kansas down 7. That ball was tipped by Hill, but Randall gets it. Down 7, 1 timeout remaining for the Jayhawks. Jordan on the drive, pull-up jumper, off the glass and good, and Kansas burns its last timeout. 34.5 seconds to go, and the Jayhawks won't go away. Hoosier Dome, they just accidentally ran a 1.5 seconds off the clock a moment ago. Kansas has scored 6 unanswered in the last 37 seconds to move within 5. Duke has 1 timeout left. The Jayhawks have used them all, Billy.
Very critical inbounds pass here with Kansas on this run. Now, if you're going to foul anybody, you're going to want to foul Grant Hill if you can. You can see.
All right, they adjusted on the clock, Billy. Mickey Crowley spotted it. Hill runs the baseline.
They'd love to get the ball to Leitner and make them foul Leitner.
Jamison's on him. Leitner now doubled up. Bounce pass to Hill. And he calls a timeout.
He called a timeout and had 1 second left before it had been a 10-second violation.
Smart play by Thomas Hill. 25 seconds to go. We'll be right back. The timekeeper has an itchy finger. Watch the clock start before it's even inbounded. Burned another second off the clock, and Judd Heathcote and Michigan State aren't even playing in this game.
He's here, though.
Maybe that's what caused it.
Oh,
they got Davis on the break, and a shield by Leitner to help it.
That is ball game. Mike Krzyzewski doesn't want to celebrate yet.
Woodbury, they'll let him go. He missed. Hill tips it out. Jamison has it. Knocks Hill to the floor. Still can't connect. And it's Duke's basketball.
And there it is. The first time I've seen Mike Krzyzewski smile. He knows he has that monkey off his back. Leitner wants it.
High pass for Leitner. Sees Davis. Woodbury intercepts. Final seconds. Jordan will put up the jumper. It doesn't matter. Duke has won its first national championship.
You've arrived when you customize.
Get Mickey out here. You got.
He may be a Superman, but after 75 fastballs, even Nolan Ryan's...
Congratulations, guys. Mike, I looked at you on Saturday after the win against UNLV, and I said, hey, can you smile a little bit? And you said, we still have another game to play with an icy glare. How about now?
I can smile a lot now. We came here to win 2 games, and I think we were much more mature than the previous teams that have come, and these kids have had a great month of March, and it feels really good to finally win a game in April.
Hey, Christian, the fatigue factor trying to come back from the game against UNLV, did you feel it at all today?
Personally, I know I felt it, and I don't know about the rest of my teammates. I think Bobby did a very good job because he has to handle the ball the whole game. And he didn't sit out once, and he just played a superb game. A lot of assists, not that many turnovers, and I'm glad for Bob. I'm very happy for Bobby.
Mike, you said you guys would not really feel any extra pressure knowing that you have not won the championship before. Is that really true, or is that just pregame rhetoric?
No, I think it's true because these guys are too young. They don't know what the heck happened last week. I think that, and I told them, I said, you're not playing for anybody but yourselves. Don't worry about me.
Billy?
Jim, I'm not going to go for that because I heard the guys in the background saying we got the monkey off his back. How about that?
Well, I think we worked so hard for each other. Before the game, we said we're going to do this for each other and not for anyone else. So we're ready to go, and we're happy Coach did get the monkey off his back.
Bobby Hurley, I've watched you play since you came at Duke. So much expected, great physical talent. And in the last 6 weeks, you have become the thinking man. 43 assists, 9 turnovers, playing almost every minute of every game. Tremendous job on your part. But Christian Leitner didn't make the all-tourney team. I just try to get... No, great job, Bobby. What do you think about the game?
Well, I just think, I'm just glad to be on this team and be a part of Duke basketball. And, I owe everything to the guys on the team for helping me out and growing as a player.
Guys,
big job.
Congratulations. You're the best. You're the best in college basketball. We'll send it upstairs to Pat O'Brien. We'll look forward to the trophy presentation in just a moment.
Nice going, Mickey. Congratulations. Great.
All right, Jim Nance, thank you very much, and Billy Packer. And so our Chevrolet MVPs are for Duke, Bobby Hurley And for Kansas, Mark Randall. Randall with 18 points, 10 rebounds in a losing effort. And Hurley with 12 points and 9 assists. And Mike Francesa, a Duke team that's very young.
Well, before we get to that, there isn't a person associated with college basketball that isn't happy to see Coach K finally win a national championship. He's one of the great coaches in America. And you talk about Duke being young. With what they have returning, Pat, and the recruits they have coming in, the big question next year is going to be, can Duke repeat? Because they will be preseason #1.
How about Bobby Hurley tonight as the floor general?
Two things in the second half and throughout the game. Duke's defense in the second half was tremendous against Kansas until the final minutes when they got a little tired. And Bobby Hurley, much maligned after last year's game against UNLV, had a tremendous game. He's a great leader. He's fiery. He kept the team up all night when they were tired. Bobby Hurley is a great point guard, and you win championships with great point guards.
He's a sophomore, and he's down there with his teammates, and we're getting ready for the trophy presentation. Let's go to Frank Fallon, our PA announcer.
Now to present the championship awards tonight, here is the chairman of the NCAA Division I Men's Basketball Committee, Mr. Jim Delaney.
On behalf of the NCAA Division I Men's Basketball Tournament, please join me in congratulating the fine efforts of two teams tonight and throughout the tournament. At this time, it's my pleasure to present the 1991 National Championship Trophy to head basketball coach Mike Krzyzewski. Mike, would you say a few words on behalf of your team?
Yeah. First of all, I want to thank our fans from Duke University. You're the best. I want to also congratulate Kansas on a great game. What a fine basketball team. And I want to thank fans everywhere, and especially here in the state of Indiana, for putting on a fabulous Final Four. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in saluting the remaining staff members and student athletes from the national.
Well, that's it for this college basketball season, and time now, I think, about thinking about baseball. But before we leave you tonight, let us take one final look at the madness of March. And on behalf of all of us here at CBS, and you'll see the names of the people who have been working to bring you in all the sights and sounds of the tournament, it has been our pleasure to bring you the NCAA championship and its shining moments. This is Pat O'Brien for everybody here. Good night, everybody.
Final Four, Christian Laettner of Duke.
shooting star, and all the years no one knows just how hard you worked, but now it shows. In one shining moment you reach deep inside. One shining moment you knew you were alive. Feel the beat of your heart, feel the wind in your face. It's more than a contest, it's more than a race. When it's done, win or lose, you always did your best, 'cause inside you knew that one shining moment you reached for the sky. One shining moment you knew. One shining moment you were willing to try. One shining moment you knew. One shining moment.
Saw you walking home with that same boy yesterday.
Yeah, that's Donald, Dad.
Mm-hmm.